digressing a little bit, but answering your question sort of as to why their music has always felt very patriotic to me, is that when a Bollywood singer or a Bollywood composer, when they perform anywhere in the world, whether it is New York or New Jersey or or Moscow or Berlin or wherever, they always are able to fill up a complete stadium. They're able to fill up a stadium, they're able to fill up a complete arena or a hall or whatever, and they get a huge audience. But that audience is mostly the Indian diaspora. About 99% of that audience is the Indian diaspora. Because Bollywood, even except with a few exceptions, Bollywood has actually not broken cultural barriers, but a few exceptions are there where Bollywood has actually broken cultural barriers. But when you look at the classical musicians like Pandit Ravi Shankar, Pandit Vishwamohan Bhatt, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, Ustad Zakir Hussain, Anushka Shankar, all of these musicians. In fact, when I was 19 years old, I had gone to San Francisco and I watched a concert of Pandit Ravi Shankar. And what shocked me of that concert is that there must have been about 1,500 people in the audience. And the audience inside the auditorium was very reflective of the demographic of the city itself. Because inside the audience, about 80% of the people were who were natives of San Francisco. And the rest of them were, were people from India, people from China, people from Latin America and things like that. And then that is when I realized that it's these traditional musicians who have actually broken cultural barriers. And the best part is that they're not trying to ape the West. What they're doing, and they're not trying to follow current trends, they're just playing what is true to their own heart and true to their own culture. And they're digging deep into themselves and figuring out what is it that makes them uniquely Indian, and they're showcasing that to the world. So for me, any music of any of these amazing classical musicians has always been an inspiration for me. Not only the music, but them as a personality too.
One more question.
Sure.
As amazing as this feat is, like going to Abbey Road,
yeah,
the world's biggest studio, and performing the national anthem with a full British orchestra, do you think so it would ever be possible for a British and American to come to India, to one of our studios, and perform their national anthem with an all-Indian orchestra, and would the Indian public be as accepting of it as the Britishers have been?
That's already happened in the past. I've created a sort of like slightly Indian version of the Canadian national anthem when I had performed over there, and I created that. But anyway, but that was not at this particular magnitude. But at the same time, I believe that the thought process can be slightly different, because a symphony orchestra is a Western concept. So what needs to happen is that them coming over here and probably recording a national anthem with Indian instrumentation. And I'm pretty sure that that is going to happen, because that is the way forward. Because everybody's looking for diversity, everybody's looking for different ways of representing the national anthem. That is one thing. Second thing is that I believe, this is my personal opinion, so don't hold me to it, but no other country has got a national anthem like India, where it is revered across the country, where they take it that seriously. They'll probably have another song, like a pop song or something like that, that all of them love, that they will record in an Indian way, which has happened, like the James Bond theme, and the theme for Mission Impossible, and the theme for Titanic. These are songs that they will record, but the thing is that they do not revere the national anthem in their country the way that we revere a national anthem. So I believe that maybe that might not happen simply because they will not care about their national anthem to actually record it in another country, but they'll care about their other stuff. And that has happened time and again, where their very, very popular songs have been done with Indian orchestras and Indian ensembles and all of that stuff. But I don't think they care about the national anthem as much as we do.
Namaskar, Vicky. This is Ashish from दैनिक भास्कर.
There you go.
आप भारत के गौरव हैं, उन चुनिंदा शख्स में से हैं जो लगातार अपने कार्यों से भारत का नाम विश्व पटल पर रोशन कर रहे हैं. ये जो आपका काम है वो भी अविस्मरणीय है, अकल्पनीय है. ऑन अ लाइटर नोट मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा हूँ, रॉयल फिलार्मोनिक जो ऑर्केस्ट्रा है उसके 100 यूनिट्स के साथ आपने जो ये बनाया है, ये एक तरीके का उनके साथ बदला है 200 सालों का जो उन्होंने हम पर राज किया था?
बदला नहीं है, लेकिन the thing is that I joked with them. So that video I have not yet edited it, but I'll send it to everybody. Before we started doing the national anthem, performing it, I actually spoke to them. And I told them, during the time I told them that, this will be the biggest symphony orchestra to record the national anthem, and I'm very honored to work with you yet again after working with you in the past. So what's up, मैंने बोला. And then I said that I laughed and I told them that, and after you people ruled us for 200 years, this will be the best gift you can give to India. Of course, everybody laughed, but not laughed at me, but they all laughed in acknowledgement, and that made them work very, very hard to give me the best product. because they felt it, that this is a gift that we have to give to Indians. And I felt it in their performance. Because I do not believe, I've worked with them so many times in the past, and I do not believe that this kind of effort and this kind of quality I've ever gotten in the past. Because they really worked hard and they wanted to give this to 1.4 billion Indians.
और आपके हर प्रोजेक्ट की तरह ये प्रोजेक्ट भी अद्भुत है, रोंगटे खड़े करने वाला है। लेकिन खास बात है, जब आप शुरुआत कर रहे थे, आपने कहा कि कुछ लोग आप शायद ना जानते हों। आपके जैसे महान एक संगीतकार को भी ये कहने की जरूरत पड़ रही है, कहीं ना कहीं हिंदी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री उस चीज से महरूम है कि आपका जो संगीत है, जैसे कि आप कल्चरल और लैंग्वेज बैरियर तोड़ने की बात कर रहे हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि हिंदी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री को इस बारे में भी सोचना चाहिए कि एक ऐसा शख्स जो मैं जैसा बोल रहा हूँ कि जो भारत का गौरव है, उसको यहाँ पर लेके आए, उनके साथ कुछ काम करें ताकि ये यहाँ का जो काम है, यहाँ का संगीत है, वो विश्व पटल पर अलग लेवल पर पहुंचे।
So, I believe that the music that is made right now in the Hindi film industry is extremely high quality. I believe that the production quality, the singers, the music, the beats, the production, the mixing, mastering, it's parallel with everything. So I do not believe that there is a dearth of quality. I think quality is absolutely stunning, and even I listen to Bollywood music all the time. The only thing is that I would love to be a part of a Bollywood film if the film at the core of it is about a very strong social message. Because then I would resonate with it, and then I would be able to, I would be able to give my best to the movie because it would be something that I absolutely believe in. So that is very important for me. Because for me, what does not excite me is somebody paying me money and asking me to make music, based on their sensibility. For me, what excites me more is that I have this idea that, that I want to get this national anthem done by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and I go with all my might and I do this, Or there is a social cause, like for example, a refugee crisis, or there is an environmental cause, just a human and elephant conflict, and us par main music banao. So for me, these are the things that excite me a lot, doing things which I feel very strongly about.
Indian cinema से अगर किसी maker के साथ collaborate करना हो, कौन होगा वो आपके साथ? या कोई एक actor जिसके साथ collaborate करना चाहे?
It's very difficult for me to say because there are lots of them. Musicians तो मैं बहुत बता सकता हूँ. Like I've collaborated with Mr. Shankar Mahadevan many times. Salim Sulaiman ji, they are almost like brothers to me. We've collaborated many times. So there are lots of musicians like that. Aditya Narayan, Jonita Gandhi, सबके साथ मैंने collaborate किया है. But filmmakers, it's difficult. It's difficult for me to say. There are lots of them actually. Because there are one or two names come to my mind, but I don't want to say those names because I will be leaving out many other names.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ricky, for how long you have been planning? Oh yeah. So for how long you have been planning to shoot this and record the entire national anthem? And my second question is, how are you trying to get this to the root level in India? Where social media doesn't exist. So for those people or over there, in connection with the government of India, maybe for that matter, or for social causes, how are you planning to take it?
So the planning of this has been about, it's not been very long, it's been about 3 months. So 3 months back is when I got the idea that we should be doing this and I should be doing this, and that is when I approached the orchestra and, and came up with the score, because it's very difficult to come up with that score because every musician needs a sheet in front of them, of what to play. So to write that score and to come up with it where everything comes together beautifully, because until the orchestra plays it, you do not know how it's going to sound, with all these musicians together. So that took a while for me to actually write it and to understand that this is going to sound good. And then the experience of hearing the orchestra playing it to you is an experience which is unparalleled, because you're in that room and the orchestra is playing your music back to you, whatever you've written. They're playing it back to you. That is like there is no words to describe how amazing it feels to listen to 100 people playing it back to you in the same room. So that was, so it was 3 months to answer your question. The second thing about reaching to the grassroots, one thing is, one way that I've answered it is that it's free for all. So anybody can use it for whatever purposes they want. And of course, I need the support of the press, because at the end of the day, traditional media is what is most important when it comes to television and print media, where to get out to as many people as possible. Everybody's got mobile phones, so sharing it on WhatsApp and all of that stuff, because there's no restrictions for it, so anybody can share it however they want. So I'm just hoping that organically it reaches every single person. So I just need help with that, because as I said, there was no other entity involved in this. So the thing is that, so it's not like there is a major record label like a T-Series or anybody involved in it where, where they can help me spread it out. So it's just, it has to be organic, that's all. So I just need everybody's support for that.
रिकी योर सेंटर राहुल हियर फ्रॉम द फिल्मी चर्चा। मेरा सवाल ये था कि अगर कोई सोचता है म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री में आने के लिए, तो फिल्म इंडस्ट्री सबसे पहले जहन में आता है कि शॉर्टकट है फेम मिलने का, लाइमलाइट में आने का। तो आपके माइंड में ये चीज कल्चर की तरफ और नेशनल एंथम के तरफ कैसे रुक के आपने ये तरीके से रिस्क था या क्या था, क्या सोच के आपने?
आई थिंक गुड क्वेश्चन. So I'm just wondering how to answer that. So that is true what you said, that the film industry gives you fame, you know, that is there. Now the thing is that I've got a lot of friends who are in the film industry, like, you know, musicians, very, very good musicians, very close friends and very good composers. Some of them are the top composers. Now the thing is that every song that they make is either a love song or an item song. There are only two songs that predominantly that they are making. And these are people who speak about gender equality all the time, and they genuinely believe in it. They genuinely from the heart believe that, you know, in gender equality, they believe in impacting society in a positive way and all of that stuff. But then sometimes they come up with an item song, you know, which is objectifying women and, you know, which is showcasing women as, you know, as items, because that's the whole definition of an item song. And these things make me a little sad, because at the end of the day, music is an art form, okay? Now, if you look at I'm sorry I'm digressing, मैं थोड़ा सा explain करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. So if you look at an artist like Vincent van Gogh, who's very, very popular artist and a contemporary artist, because he's not like an ancient artist. If he was making a new painting, अगर वो नया painting बनाना चाहता था, तो वो सारे neighboring art galleries नहीं जाएगा और देखेगा सब लोग क्या कर रहे हैं ना, मैं भी ऐसे ही करूँगा, जो क्या trend में है, ऐसे करेंगे and all that stuff. He would dig deep into his own soul and he would make a piece of art which is representative of him. And if I wanted to know what kind of a person Vincent van Gogh is in real life, I'm not going to read a book about him. मैं उनके सारे तस्वीरें देखूंगा and मैं जज करूंगा कि ये कैसा आदमी था. You know, tormented आदमी था, वो थोड़ा सा weird किस्म का आदमी था. You know, I'll judge his paintings and I'll do that. But right now, when it comes to musicians in India, everybody's dream is that as soon as I become a musician, मुझे Bollywood करना है. मैं जब बोलता हूँ लोगों को कि मैं composer हूँ, first question पूछते हैं कौन सा film? You know, तो ये इंडिया में है. And that is why all the music in India is basically, or not all, but most of the music in India is basically either a love song or an item song. And कभी-कभी मैं सोचता हूँ कि ये जो बहुत अच्छे composers हैं, बहुत अच्छे human beings हैं, genuinely they are very, very good people. They are not listening to their own music. They are not the kind of people who will sit down at home and listen to their own music. You know, because they are not the kind of people who will listen to an item song, you know. So that has, I feel that in some way that has to change. And for me, the reason why a lot of people ask me that, अरे थोड़ा सा fame आ जाएगा, you know, if you do Bollywood, and then your songs also will get uplifted. But I do not believe that, because many times, like if you look at a composer like Vishal Dadla, okay, Vishal, a very good friend of mine, a fantastic human being, a really, really good person. So, and I've known him for the last 23, 24 years. Now, he does Bollywood music, but Bollywood music is far more popular than his pentagram music or his music that he does from the heart, which is all about social messages. People know him only that. And if he performs his pentagram music, people in the audience shout that, Sheila ki jawani karo, you know, ye sab karo, you know. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I would rather be very less known for songs that define me as a person, rather than being extremely well known for songs that do not define me as a person. So that's it.
Hi, Vicky ji, मेरा सवाल आपसे है. आपने भी कुछ म्यूजिक के बारे में कहा, म्यूजिक की ओरिजिनलिटी के बारे में कहा, और मैं सिर्फ ये जानना है आपसे कि आपने जो नेशनल एंथम जो आपने ये किया है बहुत बढ़िया है और बहुत अच्छा है, और मैं सिर्फ ये जानना चाहता हूँ क्या कुछ आप क्योंकि देखिए जैसे देशभक्ति आती है तो हम 15 अगस्त को तिरंगा झंडा लहराते, उसके बाद हम भूल जाते हैं. तो हमारे जो यूथ है उन्हें एक रहना चाहिए कि रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी वाली इंडियन या एक है ना, हर साल हर दिन आपको वो देशभक्ति या वो सब चीजें रहनी चाहिए. तो ऐसा कुछ क्या कुछ सोचते हैं आप इस बारे में, और यूथ को क्या मैसेज देना चाहेंगे, क्योंकि आपका ये जो कदम है ये भी एक उसी ओर है, यूथ को क्या मैसेज देना चाहेंगे आप?
तो I believe that what you're talking about वो हो रहा है अभी. Like, you know, people are feeling pride about our own inherent culture. People are feeling pride about being Indian, and that's happening all over the world. It's not just with us; it's also happening with the Indian diaspora. Because I go everywhere. My music is predominantly Indian, and I see that I'm able to perform my music anywhere in the world. You know, to audiences everywhere. Like for example, I recently performed at the World Health Organization, the WHO headquarters in Geneva. There was not a single Indian person in the audience. It was just, people from all over the world, mainly Europe and America and Australia and Africa, all these countries. And our entire set from beginning to end was in Indian languages. And it was Indian music. And even that was very, very appreciated. So the thing is that I think people all over the world are appreciating Indian art, and because I can only speak about art right now, but they're appreciating Indian art, and at the same time, Indian artists are feeling proud to be Indian artists. So that is happening right now because, where's that sound coming in? There's a mic, I think, that is on. Anyway, so that is happening, and and I perform with a lot of Indian musicians, and I travel with them all over the world. Like मेरा एक खटम player है, तबला player है, सितार player है, flute player है, जो मेरे साथ पूरे that we travel around the world doing concerts. And these musicians have become so busy in the last 2 to 3 years because they're not just performing with me, they're performing with other international artists everywhere in the world. Some with jazz musicians, with pop musicians, with other musicians all over the world. So that is happening, this pride of being Indian, that is happening. It's just that we have to accelerate it. वो थोड़ा जल्दी करना पड़ेगा because it's happening slowly, it's moving in the right direction, but we have to accelerate it.
And lastly, what's next from your side after this? सोच रहे हैं आप करने का कुछ आगे है?
Yeah, of course. So I've got another album that is releasing on the 18th of August, an album called Police Beyond Borders. So that, that it's basically, there is a band, the Police, which is one of the greatest bands in the history of rock and roll music. So unka drummer and the founder of the band, Stuart Copeland, I collaborated with him on my previous album, Divine Tides, which won 2 Grammy Awards. Now this album is another collaboration with him. So that album, again, with a lot of Indian music, a lot of Indian languages, and this album will be releasing on the 18th of August.
Hi, sir. आपका स्वागत है इंडिया में।
ना मैं तो यहीं पर रहता हूँ। स्वागत है मुंबई में।
अगर बात करें ग्रैमी अवार्ड की, पहले एक इंडियन है जिन्होंने लगातार 3 ग्रैमी अवार्ड जीते। इससे पहले
मैं दूसरा इंडियन हूँ। पंडित रविशंकर ने भी 3 जीता है, लेकिन मैं
ग्रैमी लाया था।
नहीं, उनको भी 3 ग्रैमी अवार्ड्स मिले हैं, लेकिन मैं
फर्स्ट इंडियन तो वही थे।
वही है 100%।
जी, तो हर एक नेशनल एंथम सभी इंडियंस के लिए कूलबम होता है।
करेक्ट।
और जिस तरीके से आपने ये अभी नेशनल एंथम बनाया, उस तरीके से लग रहा है कि 14 तारीख को जब रिलीज होगा तो पूरा इंडिया साथ ब्रिटेन में अदर देश में देखा जाएगा। तो आपको क्या लगता है कितने लोग तक ये चीज पहुंचेगी?
बहुत मुश्किल है बोलने के लिए कि कितना रीच होगा, बिकॉज अगेन हमारा कोई मीडिया प्लान नहीं है, हमारा कोई सपोर्ट नहीं है कोई बड़ा लेबल के साथ, और टेलीविजन के साथ कोई टाई अप नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है। तो इट विल ऑल डिपेंड अपॉन यू द मीडिया एज टू व्हाट द रीच विल बी। सो जैसे मुझे आपका जितना भी हेल्प मिल सके मुझे चाहिए।
14 को क्या यूके में भी पब्लिश होने वाला है?
सब जगह पब्लिश होगा, सब जगह जिसको भी पब्लिश करना हो वो पब्लिश कर सकते हैं।